Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're attempting something ambitious. We're going deep on just one source.
A single, very concentrated piece.
Exactly. It's the poem, The Truest Thing That Is, by Noble Derby LeMoore. Just 17 lines, but philosophically, linguistically, it's incredibly dense. We've got notes, analysis, but really it's about grappling with the text itself.
It really is. And it's fascinating because the poet takes on this, well, frankly, impossible task.
Yeah.
Defining a reality that's beyond human grasp.
Right.
And what they seem to realize is you can't use simple is statements. You have to lean into negation, into paradox. So our mission really is to walk you through how the poet uses contradiction, almost as the only way to speak about ultimate truth.
And for you, the listener, it hits you right away.
Yeah.
This absolute certainty followed by, well, the complete opposite. The entity declares very powerfully, I am the truest thing that is.
Boom, foundational statement.
You think, okay, here we go. But then the very next line, it's the almighty all-nothingness.
And there it is, the central paradox right up front.
It's a huge philosophical hurdle, isn't it? If the truest thing, the thing that is also all-nothingness, how does that even work?
Well, it forces us to collapse the binary logic we usually rely on. Is it just wordplay? Maybe a bit, but I think it's deeper.
But isn't that just vague? Saying something is everything and nothing. If it's the truest thing, shouldn't it be solid, definable, something, present?
See, that's the human perspective kicking in. If it were definable, measurable, finite, it would be limited. It would eventually change, decay, maybe disappear.
Okay.
By calling it all-nothingness, maybe the poet implies it's pure potential, or it's the sort of empty stage where existence and non-existence both happen. It's the truth before matter.
Ah, okay. So it can't be corrupted because it doesn't have physical properties to corrupt.
Precisely. It refuses to be pinned down by form. That's its strength, its truth.
That totally reframes how we should approach this. We're looking for something defined by its absence.
Exactly.
So let's track that. How does the entity build this identity using negation? After that initial shocker, we get the unknown.
Right.
Why start defining truth with unknowability? Seems counterintuitive.
Because if we could know it fully with our current minds, it would be limited by us, by our capacity. It wouldn't be ultimate. And what's really interesting is how quickly the poet moves from that abstract idea of the unknown to giving real positive value to things we literally cannot perceive.
Ah, you mean that incredible pairing, the gracious invisible and the beautiful unseen.
Yes. Invisible, unseen, both point to a lack, an absence to our senses.
But paired with gracious and beautiful.
Think about what that tells you, the listener. The highest qualities, grace, beauty, they aren't dependent on a human looking at them, appreciating them.
So ultimate value is just there.
Yeah.
Intrinsic, not based on someone observing it.
That seems to be the argument. A flower doesn't need us watching to be beautiful. This ultimate reality doesn't need our attention to be gracious.
Philosophically, though, that's a big step. It's so easy for us to dismiss what we can't see, or argue that concepts like grace only mean something because of human experience.
Sure, and the poet is pushing back against that human-centered view. If this entity is truly ultimate, it can't depend on our flaky senses or whether we happen to notice it.
Okay.
It has to possess goodness, gracious, and beautiful as inherent qualities non-materially. It exists in a state beyond our detection, but still holds the highest ethical and aesthetic value. It's perfect, but formless.
Wow, that's a fundamental shift in how we think about value.
Yeah.
And okay, if the poet establishes that this truth operates outside our physical presence,
Yeah.
it makes sense the next step is tackling our physical perception.
Exactly.
Which brings us to that really striking section where the language starts actively contradicting how our senses even work.
It's a necessary move. First, it's unseen. Now it actively denies the very mechanics of sensing. These phrases become like linguistic shortcuts. They signal immediately this thing operates outside known physics.
We get the sight without eyes. That's instantly captivating. Vision, but no eyes.
It suggests pure knowing, right? Apprehension without the biological tool.
Like insight, but literalized.
Perhaps. And then it moves to communication, to sound, denying the usual means, the unspoken word.
Not just a thought, but a word. Communication happening without speech. Pure idea transfer.
Could be. And if the word isn't spoken,
Then the sound can't be heard, leading to the sound of the unheard.
right. It's communicating profoundly, maybe, but its voice, its volume, exists outside anything we could possibly hear.
Which builds to what might be the most powerful one, the deafening silence.
Yes, that one always gets me.
I have to pause there too. Deafening silence. It conjures this image of noise so intense it breaks your hearing. But it's silence. What do you think the poet is trying to do there? Evoke a feeling.
I think so. Maybe trying to give the reader a physical sense of absolute saturation. The entity's presence is so total, so overwhelming, that the lack of normal input, the silence, becomes the overwhelming sensation.
Like it fills up all the space for sound.
Exactly. It's the ultimate noise, precisely because it crowds out the possibility of hearing anything else. It takes over the system by being nothing.
Absolute saturation. I like that. So these sensory impossibilities, they tell us this ultimate reality isn't just hidden or mysterious. It fundamentally breaks the rules we know for sight, sound, speech.
Yeah, it's an existence defined by being completely unmeasurable by our tools, which naturally leads the poet beyond sensory paradox into, well, intellectual paradox, breaking the limits of thought itself.
Right, we shift gear here, from breaking physics to breaking mental limits, concepts of scale, of limitlessness. The descriptions just pile up, the inconceivable, the unmeasurable, the unquantifiable, and then just flat out the infinite.
These aren't just saying it's big, they're saying it's fundamentally beyond our ability to grasp, count, calculate. Any ultimate truth has to be infinite, right? Otherwise, something would be outside it, making it incomplete.
Makes sense.
And establishing that absolute infinite scale then sets up something really critical. This reality isn't static. It's not just sitting there being infinite.
This is where it got really interesting for me. We tend to think of ultimate truth as fixed, permanent, unchanging, like a philosophical bedrock.
The capital T truth.
Yeah. But this entity is described dynamically, ever decaying, ever rising.
And that raises a huge, complex question, doesn't it? If this is the ultimate stable truth, why is it constantly in flux? It kind of flies in the face of a lot of Western ideas about perfection being unchanging.
Totally. Why would truth need to decay? Does that mean it's constantly dying and being reborn? Or is it more like the only constant is change? That old idea, you can't step in the same river twice.
I think it's precisely that, but scaled up to the entire cosmos. The ultimate truth maintains its nature not by being fixed, but by being the continuous process of destruction and creation.
Just cycle itself.
The constant cycle. Decay is needed for rising. Destruction allows for renewal. If it never decayed, it would be static, and being static is actually a limitation.
Ah, I see. So its ability to perpetually transform is what ensures its infinity. The truth isn't a noun, it's a verb, an ongoing process.
Beautifully put. It's the ultimate energy exchange, maybe. And as if that wasn't all-encompassing enough, the poet then pulls together its intellectual scope in one pretty stunning line.
Right near the end. It is the sum of all numbers and letters.
And this line is so critical for you, the listener, to hold on to. Numbers and letters, what are they?
The basis of everything we use to structure reality. Maths, logic, science, all language, all stories.
Exactly. They are the fundamental tools of human knowledge. So if this ultimate reality, this paradoxical, infinite, ever-changing thing, is the sum total of all numbers and letters.
It means it contains all possible information, all knowledge. It's the equation in the library.
The master equation and the master library combined.
Yeah, okay. So we've built up this picture. A transcendent, paradoxical, infinite, dynamic entity that embodies all knowledge. It's everything.
It feels like we've reached the summit, doesn't it? But we can't get comfortable there. Because the very last line of the poem throws everything into a different light. It gives the crucial and honestly deeply unsettling context for all of it.
Right. This entire thing we've just defined, this infinite being, is spinning in a sphere of illusions.
Boom. The final twist.
And that leaves us with the critical question, the one we have to wrestle with. If this entity, the truest thing, the sum of all knowledge, only exists within this sphere of illusions,
what does that imply?
what does it suggest about the reality that all that knowledge describes? What does it say about the stage, the sphere itself?
It strongly implies that the container, the sphere, is somehow unreal, misleading, maybe fundamentally flawed. It doesn't necessarily negate the entity itself. It's still the truest thing, the sum, but its context, its environment, is illusion.
So the sphere conditions how we perceive or interact with that truth.
It seems to. It constrains it, maybe filters it. It turns the whole quest for objective reality into this meta puzzle, where the very tools we use, numbers, letters, logic, might be part of the illusion they're trying to map.
Wow. It makes you question if everything we think is solid ground is just a very elaborate, maybe beautiful phantom.
Yeah.
Okay, let's quickly recap the key takeaways from this very deep dive into Noble Dobie LeMoore's poems.
Please.
The poem defines ultimate reality through negation, using contradictions like all-nothingness to get at its non-material value. Then it uses these striking sensory paradoxes, deafening silence being a key one, to show it operates outside our physical laws. And finally, it establishes its infinite dynamic scope, calling it the sum of all numbers and letters.
But, and this is the huge but, this absolute truth, this total knowledge is ultimately contained within an illusory framework, a sphere of illusions.
Which leads us right to that final provocative thought for you to chew on.
Based strictly on the text. If the truest thing that is also the sum of all numbers and letters, how is the poet implying that our foundational structures for understanding the world, mathematics and language, numbers and letters, how might they actually be involved in building or maintaining that very sphere of illusions?
Something to think about next time you're balancing your checkbook or writing an email. Thanks for diving deep with us today.